and put me on your do not call list. Ugh, telemarketers. If there was only something we could do. No, not about them calling in the first place. I mean about having to hang up on them. It's so difficult and impolite. That was the impetus for this invention, the easy hang-up. The packaging does say it gets rid of phone solicitors, but by that they mean after they've already called you and after you've already picked up the phone. It's the one-button way to say goodbye to annoying phone calls, and it attaches to all phones quickly and easily. It was part of the Easy Phone Accessories product line from Phonex Corporation, and it uses patented technology. When you push the button on it, it plays a pre-recorded message and then automatically hangs up the line. And there's the transcript of the announcement it makes, which we'll hopefully get to hear in its own voice. The Easy Hang-Up is actually a knockoff of a similar device called the Phone Butler, which was invented by a lawyer named Kenneth Jersinski in 1995. With the Phone Butler, you'd press the star button on your telephone keypad, and then it would play a recording in a gentle but firm voice with a British accent, which would sound something like this.
Pardon me, this is the Phone Butler, and I have been directed to inform you this household must respectfully decline your inquiry. Kindly place this number on your do not call list. Good day.
Actually, the voice it used was an American imitating a British accent. It was recorded by Mark Standriff, who was a talk show host on Toledo, Ohio radio station WSPD. In its trademark application, there's a very grainy scan of the Phone Butler's packaging, which says, as seen on TV, CNN, NBC Nightly News, ABC News, Fox, Consumer Reports, and many more. But despite all that publicity, the Phone Butler seems to be vaporware. I can't even find a picture of one, aside from a couple of newspaper articles. Luckily for us, the Easy Hang-Up isn't vaporware. It seems to have been introduced in 1997 based on the earliest references to it I can find, and I managed to find this one in a thrift store in its original packaging some 28 years later. There's not much to unbox here because you can already see the whole thing through the packaging, but here we go. Oh, looks like you get a little bit of adhesive that's all dried up by now. And there's the device itself. Just a little box that plugs into your phone line, and then you plug your phone into this, and it has one button and one red LED. And that's it. It's Phonex model PX-1020-01, made in China, and it complies with FCC rules. And I can't resist the urge to unscrew it and see what's inside. So I took out the screw, and there it is. It's actually a little bit more complex than I expected. Got this little haphazardly mounted daughter board here at a weird angle, then another daughter board vertical with a little bit of ribbon cable. That doesn't look very professional. Kind of a weird way of doing it. So it looks like it has one blob chip and one DIP package integrated circuit and a couple transistors and some protection filtering for the phone line. And there's the red LED. And where's that button? How does that button work? Oh, must be this is the button. They put a little piece of tape over it. And there you can see the integrated circuit is an HD74HC02P. I have to look that up to see if I can get any kind of data sheet on it. The HD74HC02 is a quad 2-input NOR gate, so that's a logic chip probably used for switching. which means the whole brains of the operation is on that little blob chip, which is probably just a very simple microcontroller with a little bit of ROM to store the pre-recorded message that the Easy Hang-Up uses. The instructions say to connect your incoming telephone line to the jack on the Easy Hang-Up, and then connect the little stub wire coming out of the Easy Hang-Up to your telephone. And without even picking up the phone yet, when I push the button on the Easy Hang-Up, the red LED on it comes on for a few seconds as it plays its message. The Easy Hang-Up gets the power it needs directly from the telephone line. It does not need its own battery. If I pick up the telephone and then just push 1 to get rid of the dial tone, when I push the button on the Easy Hang-Up, I can hear the message in the receiver, so it is working. The instructions say to test it by calling a friend, so it works on outgoing calls too, not just incoming ones. Now to test it for real, I'm going to call the landline from my cell phone, and then I'll pick up the handset and push the button, and we'll hear the Easy Hang-Up's message through the cell phone speaker.
I'm sorry, this number does not accept this type of call. Please regard this message as your notification to remove this number from your list. Thank you.
Okay, sounds like it works. Just one thing I noticed is that the instructions say on completion of the message, the device will disconnect the line. But at least in my case, it did not. It only disconnected when I hung up the handset. And now because my flip phone is smart enough to still have a headphone jack, I'll use that to give you a direct hookup recording of the Easy Hang-Up's message.
I'm sorry, this number does not accept this type of call. Please regard this message as your notification to remove this number from your list. Thank you.
So now we know how the Easy Hang-Up works, but the question you're probably asking is, why does it exist? Don't people normally just say that in their own voice and then hang up on their own? Going back to the phone butler, Mr. Jasinski said he invented it because he wanted something polite and fast. He was raised to be polite and to not hang up on people. And according to the article about it, most victims of phone scams are over 55. They said seniors become victims because simply hanging up is rude to them. It's not polite. Some of them just can't say no. And telemarketers actually liked it too, because at least it ends the call quickly and somewhat pleasantly. You don't have to deal with an irate prospect, and you can go on to your next call quickly. And nationally syndicated newspaper columnist Craig Crossman enthusiastically endorsed the Easy Hang-Up, calling it a perfect holiday gift. He said, "No more do you have to feel bad because you were forced to be impolite and hang up. Now this little 1-inch box with a large red button will do it for you. It's great." And Zenith thought it was a good idea too, because in 1999 they began selling a slightly redesigned version of the Easy Hang-Up as the EZ Hang-Up. In December 1999, Kmart had it on sale for $9.99. General Electric also sold a version of it as the telemarketing hang-up. But the end of the line for the Easy Hang-Up was in late 2001 when Big Lots was selling them off for $3 each. By early 2002, the product listing for it was removed from the Phonex website. One reason for the demise of the Easy Hang-Up, you might imagine, is that it doesn't really work with cordless telephones. You certainly can connect it, but in order to use it, you would need to walk over to the base unit to push the button. And there must have been a lot of unsold units because a company called Electronics USA was selling the Easy Hang-Up all the way until February 2020 when they finally ran out of stock, although their price of $35 for it was highway robbery compared to what it sold for when it was new. And the Easy Hang-Up was mentioned on the Daily GizWiz podcast back in 2008, which I'll include a link to in the description.
Easy Hang-Up from Phonex.
Phonex.
With a
Phonex.
name like Phonex, it has to be phony.
That's not bad.